I often talk about community policing. It's such a broad term. If you ask anybody here to read, it's like reading the Bible. Everybody has a different interpretation of what they believe community policing is. You know, I sit in this room and I have so many friends in this room. Randy from Human Relations, who we just did a Secure Our Future with young people, 300 kids who came in the room, and Kelvin was a part of that, and both in that charge and sitting on the Civilian Review Board, really got to meet with young people and have a kind of dialogue, and from that, build a report that I'm working off now, trying to address the issues that the kids wanted. It's community policing. You know, I look at Dr. Radcliffe in the back, who we worked on a project at Temple University with footbeats, when we made the decision in 2009 that we're going to put footbeats in the community. You know, and then through their evaluation, learned that having our officers on foot in community, we're going to make them better police officers. So not only did we look at the data, we looked at the things that came from that and the reactions from those officers and what did they believe were the right thing to do. So moving forward, every police officer who comes out of the academy goes on foot, and they'll spend 6 months in the community learning those aspects of how to get to know what's going on and how to work around that process. You know, and so I look at those elements and I say, you know, when we put the things together, you know it's right. You know, I'll tell you, take you back 10 years ago when I was a captain in 17th District, and I look at my friend here, Pat Coyne, who works in Human Relations, but was on my PDAC, the PDAC that Ms. Jones described. I'm a young captain and trying to figure out my way, but know I want to work in the community. Through that process, we built individuals and community people to come in my small district, and at one point I have 100 people in there in a small area. Why? Because they knew when they came in the room, we were going to respect them. We knew that I had to take my time and earn their trust. It took me a year, almost a year, to get the community to trust me. Part of that trust was making commitments to them and keeping it. They're asking me to do things for them and me doing it. And we would do it over and over and over again. There was no break, Pat. Things were going to get done. When they came to my meeting, they knew it was going to get done. And so I'll tell you a quick story. I sit in the meeting one day, and some of my elderly ladies were sitting in the back and complaining about a basketball court. I can't get up at 2:30 in the morning, boys out there in that basketball court. All night long, I can't sleep. Just can't sleep. But they're crying when they're telling me that story. Because to them, that was what was destroying their quality of life. Needless to say, I know we're on video, but we snuck in there in one night and we were able to do things to get that court out of there and work to address that issue. Because they should not. It was guys out there selling drugs and using the court as a way to hide what they were doing. I can't tell you the feeling it was to come into that next meeting and give me a standing ovation in that room for just doing something so simple. So this process is not that complex. We try to add all these layers of complexity to what it is. It is about how you treat people at the point of contact and how you sit down with people and you want to work to make things better for them. You know, and it's those small things to make the bigger things. And when you get it, it never, ever leaves you. I'll close with that final thing. When Commissioner Ramsey comes to the Philadelphia Police Department and he's walking around doing these evaluations of who's doing what in these town halls, I told my community, I said, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be at Southern High. If you let anybody get up in that back of that room and holler that I'm not doing anything, I'm done with all of you. I had about 300, almost 400 people show up at South Philly High and said, you're not going to mess with my captain at the time. It was at that point I got it. I got it before that, but at that point, I really got it. It was a two-way street. They were there for me when I needed them, and I was there for them when they needed me. And if we kept that going, it's a phenomenal, phenomenal driving force, and it resolves many of the issues that you described today. So I also want to commend all of you for the work you're doing, because that's what makes my job so much easier. So I want to make sure I commend you for what you're doing and taking and moving in that direction, because it's so helpful. It makes my job easier, and I know my young officers out here how much it makes their job, and I appreciate you acknowledging the work they're doing. Thank you.